There being none, let's entertain public comments. Mr. Weisman.
I'm going to ask our friend over there.
Good afternoon, David Weisman, Alliance for Nuclear Responsibility. Just want to follow up, actually, with a question for Dr. Lam, because I'm usually pretty aware of all the media in San Luis Obispo that deals with issues involving Diablo Canyon. When you speak of some form of media, newspaper, story, letter, editor that was extremely critical, did I write it? I don't recall. So that's why I'm curious as to which paper or venue this appeared in.
Right. Mr. Weisman, I only recall either our general counsel had sent me an email, or a member of the public had sent me a citation. Now, I would certainly go examine my records to see who this distinctive author may have been, right? It could have been you. If it's not you, it could have been somebody else. Yeah.
But then there's a citation to something that was actually printed or in the bona fide media.
Right. It was a printed matter in the local press.
Okay. I'd be curious.
Or my memory may fail me. It may be a submittal in front of the Public Utility Commission in one of their proceedings. But really, I mean, I'm glad you pointed out. We need to be more precise and rigorous in our citations here. Yeah.
I'd be curious to know, because, as I say, I think I have a pretty good finger on the pulse of the letters to the editor and the editorials published by the San Luis Obispo Tribune or the New Times, or on KSBY television or KCBX public radio, and that's why I don't recall.
Okay. So you are the Shakespeare behind all these critiques, huh?
Were it true. What I will say, Dr. Budness, yes.
Can you see it? That's a spot.
Yeah.
You put him on it.
Oh, no.
And that was correct to do.
I will look into my sources. If I had to claim confidential sources, I'll let you know. But no,
Well, as you say, it was submitted through counsel.
We do business in the most transparent way. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Because we may have our critique certainly of the project, and that's why it didn't ring a bell with me. Now, what does ring a bell is, if nothing else, based on what we just heard, and I know we've appeared on other issues before and used this reference. This seems to me really good validation of that thing folks in the physics and engineering world call the bathtub curve. And for those who have ever denied the bathtub curve's existence, and we've brought it up, that, in fact, I can go back and pull up the video clip.
I have a slide about it right here.
No, but I can pull up the video clip where we told the committee about this potential before the project was enlisted. And we're assured, and I can find that video clip and play it too, that probably wasn't going to be a consideration. And it actually turns out to be. Even more interestingly, I can go back and play a video clip from the October 2019 meeting when the repair project was underway, and we had a presentation here. And there was a fellow by the name of Johnson from PG&E giving the presentation on it and showing time-lapse footage of the event. And your committee asked questions about it and discussed the project. And they talked about it being 30 amps at 25,000 volts. And Dr. Budness says, no, you mean 30 kiloamps. And he says, what did I say, 30 amps? And Budness says 30. And he says, that's a good catch. It's 30 kiloamps. And Dr. Budness says, that's a lot of current. It certainly is spectacular. And subsequent to that, Dr. Lam asked, well, but this stator typically lasts 20 years, and you're replacing it for a service life of just 4 to 5. That's correct, he replied. And Dr. Lam says, so that indicates that the budget concern does not apply here. And Dr. Budness says, well, without it, they couldn't make power if it goes down. That's a whole lot of millions of dollars. And Dr. Lam says, well, it was somewhat operational before you replaced it, though you did not wait to the very last minute. And Mr. Johnson said, no, we didn't wait for it to fail on us. And Dr. Budde says, yes, that would be dumb. And Dr. Lam says, you have an indication of incipient failure? And Mr. Johnson says, absolutely. And Dr. Peterson says, but also to know that that kind of generator failure is a very, very catastrophic event, which you don't want to happen. Mr. Johnson says it can be. And Dr. Peterson then adds, it could be graceful, but I mean 30,000 amps? There's not a lot of graceful things in those currents when they change. Now, we can all chuckle about that. But you see, what I'm just hearing now is not hydrogen, size of the room, venting capabilities. To use one of Dr. Lam's terms that he frequently uses, such an occurrence would be, may I quote, de minimis. So what I begin to wonder is, when PG&E was in the middle of the project, requesting approval for the project, wanting this, the committee at the time sees a grave danger and a threat and a need for this to get done. Now, in a post-mortem review of a project that was besought with problems, an actual bathtub curb, which on other video clips we can show you, were warned about but dismissed. Suddenly, it really wasn't a big problem, actually, and there really wasn't much of a danger. And, you know, the room is big, turbine blades flying, not a big deal. I will leave others watching this, or the PUC, or the Energy Commission, to draw their own conclusions from the 1 year and 6 month lapse between those two sets of opinions that were proffered on this event, and then to really take into account and consider what exactly is this. Whoa, well, there you go. The lights flicker. You see, we just don't know. Was that the subliminal key that it's the subliminal cue that it's my turn? Is that in the theater when they give you the blink of the lights?
Okay. Right.
But well, I would ask that we consider the content in mind. That opinions seem to have changed on the severity, and one wonders at that it seems linked to the licensee's decisions at the time that the licensee needs to make them. Well, coincidence or not.
If I may respond, Mr. Weisman, I am very impressed with your recollection of details. Exceptional retention, okay?
Oh, no, I didn't retain that. I use transcripts. I confess to no memory tricks for that.
Amen. Now, when I talk about de minimis safety implications, the framework I have is based on first principle, which is the lethal dose of radiation to the population's the LD50. Lethal dose to 50% of our population is 500 rand, okay? The spent fuel in our reactor, if you expose it, pull it out of the swimming pool, okay, the contact dose, it's in the order of 1 million rand per second, depending on the age of the spent fuel. So in my lectures all over the world, I call that the Medusa. You look, you die. Now, that is the context I have in terms of radiation dangers and safety. On this hydrogen leak, you talk about a few cubic centimeters of hydrogen. If it were to blow, you may destroy something. And even if with the 30,000 kiloamp, you destroy the generator. But if the blade is oriented away from the reactor containment and away from the reactor vessel, which is 6 inches stainless steel, and the containment's 3 feet concrete, reinforced concrete with crowbars so thick you cannot even see through it without the concrete, then the radioactive damage do not come close to the Medusa that I am concerned about, right? I am concerned about 1 or 2 or 3 or more Medusas, like Fukushima, the contaminated area, huge area and displaced, evacuate 200,000 people with $1,000 per month of living stipend, that Tokyo Electric basically gone bankrupt and huge amount of radioactivity involved. Right? Within that context, I would say, sure, what is the big thing to worry about? Right? Now, of course, if you were the head of an opponent, which you do, a capable opponent, then with the threshold of safety that you had set, then your allegation or assertion that this committee had changed its technical position, it's I would say, you described the situation well. But initially, with a great deal of safety concern. Now we say, hey, after examination, it's probably okay, right?
Understanding that we all went into this knowing it's on the non-radiological side of the building, let us say the hat I wear is not that of an opponent. Let's say the hat I wear is a white plastic hard hat that says PG&E, and I'm walking in the turbine floor with my iPad for the routine monitoring and maintenance that I take. And the very, very catastrophic, as Dr. Peterson said, event happens. What of my safety? Because I think worker safety, radiological or not, would be a concern. After all, we know Dr. Peterson's very concerned about bookshelves falling over, and that's been a repeated thing. And I thought that was the safety we were talking about. We all understood it was on the non-radiological side, but we know that workers have been killed with such similar explosions and flying turbine blades and other things. And I thought that's the human safety that we were really the most concerned about. We understood it was non-radiological. And so that was what we meant, I thought, by safety.
Great. Okay, great. So we had a very frank exchange of opinion and sharing information. Thank you, Mr.
All right,
Weisman.
thank you very much.
Appreciate it. All right. Additional comments from members of the public?